Wow, that's the show start. You can feel it in your bones, can't you? Because it's time. Once again, for another Paranormal Portal, I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us. A special happy birthday to Kirsten Leah, who has slapped the sun once more, ladies and gentlemen. Happy birthday, Kirsten. I hope you had a wonderful birthday celebrating however you celebrated. But I know you and Isaac had a good time, so that's good. Welcome, everybody. It is just you and me. We are the show tonight, but by God, we will keep it all afloat. Hi, Eric. How you doing? Hi, Paranormal Portal, a.k.a. Brent Thomas. I could just get my license changed and just be known as Paranormal Portal now. That might turn a few heads. Nah, it might be some good branding, actually. What's your name, sir? Paranormal Portal. Really, what's your name, sir? Paranormal Portal. That might be interesting. Oh, let's see. Get all situated here in the command center of the portal, as it were. But let's see. What do we got going on? We got a lot of things going on. Before I say anything more, though, I just want to put this on the very front end of the show. But great to see you guys coming in. That's wonderful. Might take Portal the wrong way. What's the wrong way? I don't know how to take that. What does that mean? How can it's just it's an opening. It's a gateway, if you will. A portal. How can that be wrong? It leads to something. Some portals lead to wonder and amazement. Others to debauchery. But anyway, it's an opening. It's a way through. Deborah. What? Did I see the name Deborah? Is our very Deborah Neighbors. Okay, Deborah Neighbors. How you doing? I would ask, when I saw the name Deborah, I was just like, oh, it's great to meet you, Deborah Neighbors. That's a new name coming in. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please send your love and prayers to Deborah Varner, who's the Paranormal Portal psychic. Of course, she's been dealing with some health issues, and she's can use all your love and support and prayer. So send her your prayers, send your healing energy, surround her in visualizations of white glowing light, and your love, and that she has a speedy recovery. She's been through a lot, and our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to her, and I know all of yours do as well. We miss her, so just keep holding her in your heart and praying for a speedy recovery, if you would. And hello to all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to turn on the show, and I'm just looking at all the names that are on the lists here. Got Barbara over in Rumble. We've got Taipan over in Rumble, and HB Girl to you. And over in Twitch, we've got Lucky Gypsy, who's there too. And Lucky Gypsy's kind of everywhere, which is really cool. We got Chucky Danger, Rachel Gets It Right, Karen Alberding, Kirsten Leah, of course, the birthday girl, John Temperin, Auntie Lel. How you doing, Auntie Lel? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Eric Fry, I have a natural gas portal or two. Oh my God. Oh, where's the button? There it is. Oof. Yeah. I know. We all have one of those or a couple of those. Depends on hi, Marstall, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Chucky Danger. I don't know if I said Chucky already, but I'm saying it again. Because Chucky's been a wonderful friend and help to me in keeping the show relevant and timely. He takes care of the Discord, along with others, of course. But I was trying to think. Question of the week. I don't know. I'm just kind of my mind is like 5 different places now, so I'm trying to get focused, but I just have this weird mental rhythm sometimes. Hi, Ruth Ann. Good to see you. Wonderful to see Ruth Ann back and with us again. Annie Manul, good to have you here. I'm just looking through the names. Corey English. How you doing, Corey? Thanks for coming in. It's great to meet you. Great to have you come in and check it out. Any of you new listeners, I'd love to have you, if you enjoy the show. I mean, it might be a little early to tell. This may be your debut voyage into the Paranormal Portal, so you're like, I don't know, check it out. But if you like it, if you feel like you enjoy the presentation and the material, then please make it your home. Give us a subscribe and a like if you would, please. That helps us a ton if you're watching the show and you haven't ever before, and if you have before, just leave a comment, and when it's not live is my point. If you're watching a replay of any of the episodes, we love comments. They do help out a ton too. So anytime you're streaming and it's being recorded for posterity and then available for play later, every platform has an algorithm, and one of the big key factors for getting recommended by an algorithm, like on a recommended page or recommended for you, as you might have seen through all your social or your multimedia online. Certainly it gauges interaction of viewers. So if you're watching it, hit the like. If you have a moment, leave a comment if you would. That helps a ton. And definitely spread the word. If you like the show enough, let people that might enjoy it as well. Let them know about it. So anyway, that's the front end laundry. There's one other thing announcement wise that I want to make. And this is, again, it's coming up fast. And if you want to have an opportunity to get together and talk about Bigfoot, to meet Don and myself, and to meet the hosts of Bigfoot Today, which is a really cool Bigfoot show on YouTube, then by all means, and you can be in Kalispell, Montana on June 8th, Saturday, June 8th, then by all means, you should be with us at the Kalispell Bigfoot Town Hall. We'd love to meet you. It's a free event, folks, so all you got to do is get there. Not that that's a small endeavor for many of you. Of course, we have, you guys are from all over the map. But if any of you are close enough and can make the journey, it'd be great to meet you. It'd be great to hang out. It'd be great to sit and talk and, shake your hands. I love when I've met listeners to the show because, again, I'm staring at a camera. I can't look you in the eyes, and I can't, say other than to give you the words. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of the shows. It means the world to me, but it's really cool to meet the you guys in person. And I've met a few of you through the different conferences that Don and I have attended, and it'd be great to meet more of you. So if you could be there, it'd be fantastic to get together and talk and have you be a part of the event. There's going to be a lot of Bigfoot stuff going on, and there's hourly prizes being given away, door prizes that'll be given away, and I'm going to go through a couple of those right now. This is being presented by Bigfoot Today, this event in Kalispell, and a couple of the prizes that are going to be given out, one of which is a prepaid scholarship for Ken Gerhard's July 27th cryptozoology course. And Ken Gerhard is an amazingly talented and knowledgeable guy in terms of cryptozoology. He's been researching since he was 15 years old into this stuff. He's been on several TV shows. He's had a TV series of his own where he dealt with some unknown events up in Alaska. And just a fantastic guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to Ken several times. I thoroughly enjoy him. I think he's an incredibly sincere guy. But I also enjoy talking to him about the cryptozoology because, seriously, he is just so dialed in. And so I would love to take his course myself. I think I could stand to learn a ton from him. But if you're looking for more information on that, and you can't make the events, by all means, head over to Ken Gerhard's Facebook page on Facebook, which is where Facebook pages are, but and look for more information. Now, another giveaway that's going to be happening at this Kalispell Bigfoot Town Hall is a replica cast from the 1992 Deduct Springs Freeman footage for starters. And if you're not familiar with the Freeman footage, you should get familiar with it because it's in the neighborhood of the Patterson-Gimlin film to me. The Paul Freeman footage, I think, is very, very impressive. I think it's probably, I mean, I wasn't there, and you can never know for certain unless you were there and saw it with your own eyes, but I think it's legit, and he recorded some pretty incredible stuff, as well as some really impressive castings, both of hand and feet, in that area and in his research. And so this will be some of the casting, a casting of one of his historical research endeavors. Now, Paul Freeman passed away, but his son Michael is carrying the torch for him. And Michael's an amazing guy as well. I'm trying to coordinate with him to get him on the podcast, because he's just, he has so much information about his dad's journey and knowledge and things that he may not have known. And he's an incredibly great guy himself. So that'll be a second giveaway that's happening at the Kalispell Bigfoot Town Hall. So if you come, you can enter for these drawings, and you might just win. So you can meet Don and I. You might win a prize, and by God, you're going to hang out and discuss all things Bigfoot from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. is the event. So I hope you guys can make it. It's happening at the Red Lion Hotel in Kalispell, which is on 20th North Main Street, Kalispell, Montana. So check it out. You can contact the hotel for arrangements if you're going to be in town and want to stick around. So anyway, that's coming up. I wanted to take a moment to talk about it. I hope some of you guys can make it. I heard Barbara's coming. So any more is everybody's welcome, and it's free. Not to get there necessarily, not to be there necessarily, but to attend the event. Yes, that's free. So check it out. Love to see you. All right, let me get back to everything here. So we got a lot going on here tonight. We're going to talk about the news here in a moment. And then after that, we're going to get into the Discord question of the week, which is what Chucky is put together and is maintaining every week for us. He's putting together these questions. And basically, we have a Discord community if you use Discord, and it's our opportunity to ask you guys what you think about different phenomena. It might be ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, strange phenomena, etc. But it's a great opportunity for you guys to share your thoughts. And I got to tell you, I love this segment a lot. I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm really glad I came up with it, because it does give you guys a chance to sound off on your ideas. And you guys have come up with some incredible ideas that I may never have come up with on my own. So I love it, because the bottom line of the Paranormal Portal is this is my journey to try to understand all this weirdness, all this strangeness. And I think it's very powerful stuff. And I'd love to understand what's going on here. I have a lot of my own pet theories, but hearing your guys' ideas has been absolutely refreshing and has helped me dial in some of my own. So it's a great opportunity to hear what you guys think. Throughout the course of the show, you always hear what I think. So it gives you guys another voice. So anyway, we'll get into that after the news. And then we're going to get into, actually, there's a couple cool things I want to get into after that. And then we'll hit the cryptid corner to end it all off, dealing with the cryptids. I got some great stories pulled up for that. So got a lot to go through. And remember, if you want to take part in the conversation, the best opportunity to get my attention is going to be to type in all capital letters. Brent, I love the show, as Weird Traveler says, but I must tell you that I absolutely love the opening theme of the first 2 seasons. Oh, well, Weird Traveler, this is all of the music that you hear on the Paranormal Portal is stuff that I've written. And the song that used to open the shows, and I still use it on some like shorts and clips and stuff from time to time, but I don't do a lot of that. But it's called Feline. And if you're ever interested in checking out the songs that I have online available, you can go to, and I'll put it in the chat here, brentthomas.bandcamp.com. And yeah, that song is called Feline. That used to open the shows. And I like it too. I used it for several years, and I thought, well, maybe it's time to write something new. So I wrote this new song, which you just heard, and that's called Creatures. It's just instrumental. But, there's another song that we used during some of the breaks when we were on the network, and it's called Emotional Buffet. And that both Feline and Emotional Buffet are available on that Bandcamp link. And, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Full disclosure, and this is going to be redundant for those of you that have been around for a while, but I just want to say this because I never started using my music because I wanted to push more me. Here's more me. You should check out more of me. It was simply because when I started doing the shows, I used to showcase songs that I like, and so I'd maybe open with Judas Priest or, Pink Floyd or whatever, just things I liked. And that's about the same time YouTube was really clamping down on copyright issues. I was like, well, I can't use all those songs anymore. So I had this catalog of songs that I had written. So I just pulled from my catalog, trying to find songs that fit and use those. So it was out of necessity, just so you know. That me using my own music was never an ego play. It was just, I know I can use it because I wrote it. So just to put it out there. I'm a skeptical believer. I love paranormal shows. Well, very good. Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, I think a degree of skepticism is really, really important, because you do have to apply critical thinking to any of this stuff. I mean, there are those out there that are, happy to jump on board of anybody's ideas and say, well, that must be the truth. I'm going to believe that now. And that's okay. And I'm not disparaging that. But for me personally, I do have a real logical brain as well as an open-minded, accepting brain. So I hope that I have a balance, but I still have to apply that logic towards things that I read and talk about for the shows, because I think it's fair to at least apply some measures against ideas, because otherwise, I mean, then it just becomes an ugly stew of thought, and if you can't, and everybody's going to have different ideas about this stuff. There's no right or wrong answers for any of it, and I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, or I'm right or wrong. I might be right and I might be wrong, as will anybody else, but I still think you have to measure it against, common sense and critical thinking and logic. And if you still come up with, but it still defies all that, then maybe it's the real thing. I don't know. It's just my own formula, but yeah, being a skeptical believer, I think is a very powerful thing. And I think it's an important thing because, honestly, if people are presenting evidence, whether it's anecdotal, whether it's video, whether it's physical or any other form of evidence, it should stand up on its own. It should stand on its own merit. And if it's challenged, it shouldn't, completely demolish it. Some people don't like the idea that people have different thoughts, different ideas, that, we have this monoculture of thought that people are really pushing right now. And I think that that's dangerous because we got to have critical thinking. We got to challenge each other's ideas. We got to, debate. We've got to, to a degree. And I mean, I'm not talking ugly and hateful. I'm just talking about challenging our ideas and, see how they wash out. So anyway, I'm the molder in this relationship. I want to believe. There you go. So anyway, I guess that's going to be the front end of the show. Sorry, I went a little bit longer than I intended to, but that's just how it works out sometimes. How it comes out in the wash. Sorry, I got about 50 windows open here. So, and if you're new to the show, what you're seeing on the screen, this stuff here, and I'm using my mouse to circle around it, is the ghost radar. And it's running on my computer tower. And it may be able to detect electromagnetic anomalies. It also has a word database built into it that is believed to be triggerable by spirit energies. Again, this one is about 15 years old or better. And I love it. I think it's great. I don't mean to imply that if anything pops up on the radar, if a word pops up, it's definitely a ghost doing it. I don't know. But it's a possibility. So I just thought it'd be kind of fun to have it up on the show. And I've been doing it for quite a while now. And it has popped up some. Yeah, it's on. It's going. Whenever you see the squiggly lines here, that means it's running. If this is just an empty grid, it's not running. So, yep, there's definitely squiggly lines going on, but it doesn't seem to be detecting anything currently. However, if it does, you'll see dots appear on this circular radar here. And that could be it is an EM anomaly, but it could possibly be an intelligent presence. So you be the judge, but I just keep it up there. So everybody knows. Just so you have a full idea of what the hell's going on here, at least as much as I do. I don't really always know what the hell's going on my own show, but I know I love doing it, and I love that you guys show up for it. So I guess we should get to the news. So I'm going to be pulling up some news, and we're going to get into some articles here and see what you think. I got some good ones today. I think they're really good. Now I want to watch X-Files again. God, I used to burn every Friday night. It was like, it's X-Files night. X-Files night. I watched every show. It was like religious for me. I love the original X-Files. Anyway, to the news, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news. Yes, they were the days. I should get the DVD set sometime, but I just never have time to sit down and watch them. I just dated myself. It's funny because now DVDs is like, it's kind of old school. You can just digital, But the thing with the DVD is when you own it, unless you screw it up and it gets damaged. Whereas with digital stuff, they can just turn you off. I mean, they can just done. You don't have you're dead in the water, and they keep you paying for it through this period of time, and that seems a little diabolical. But it's good business, I guess, for them, but not for us. So I still like to buy DVDs from time to time because then you own it. You can watch it whenever you want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, and we're going to dive into paranormal stuff and weird stuff, interesting stuff, and sometimes it's sciencey, sometimes it's bizarre, but it's news anyway. And my goal is that you'll leave the news knowing something you didn't know already. So let's see if I succeed. First article up tonight is, again, throughout the course of the show, I like to say this at the top end of every show, but we utilize a lot of different sites. And I want to encourage you guys to check these sites out. These are amazing sites. And I want to keep them going. I want them to keep going into perpetuity. And, it takes traffic. And so your traffic does equate to money and revenue for these sites to continue going, whether through ad placements or whatever. So definitely visit these sites, give them some love. And, if you ever leave a comment on their message board, say, hey, the Paranormal Portal sent me. That'll be a good plug. I don't have any business arrangements with any of these guys, but I do love their sites. So please help out and visit them. Check them out. The first site that we're going to be utilizing tonight is an amazing site. I've loved this site for quite a while, years now. And they do a hell of a job. It's always very, very timely and relevant and current and amazing. So this site is called unexplained-mysteries.com. And I guess I can kind of understand this. I can understand this. I'll get into my thoughts at the end of the article about this, but I think this makes sense. Although it's creepy to a lot of people. Anyway, this is paranormal investigator fills his own home with a collection of the macabre. Ooh. I always wondered, how do you get macabre out of macabre? Or macabre. I'm sorry, I'm just being an idiot. But 33-year-old Rebecca Galantine has attracted quite a following online thanks to her unusual taste in collectibles. Galantine, who lives in Connecticut, gained a fascination. Did I say fascination? A fascination with the paranormal and the macabre at a young age, and has spent many years growing a sizable collection of unnerving objects. I've deeply personal pieces that feel like they have a soul, she said. It's not driven by value. Each piece came from a person who lived, and it represented them as a person. Such pieces include bags of human teeth. Okay. What, you got a bracelet of them or what? Cursed dolls, used coffins, and toe tags from morgues. Ugh. I don't want to be identified by a toe tag. There's so much personal history from people who lived normal lives that have essentially been wiped from history, she said. The only way they can be remembered is by saving these things. There's other ways. Photos are good of them living. Galantine's unusual collection has certainly proved popular, as she now has over 800,000 followers on TikTok and many more across various other social media platforms. We have an alleged haunted wheelchair from a hospital, she said. The person who gave it to me didn't want it in their house. Oh, that's kind of cool, though. I bought a memorial piece for a baby who died in 1906 for $8 at an auction. And I have a chain of human hair from a guy who was in prison for murder. He made the chain from his victim's wife's hair. Oh, yeah, that's a lot twisted. And I guess that's her. She's a stunning lady, but yeah, she's kind of got that whole Morticia Addams thing cooking, doesn't she? That's cool. I mean, to each their own. But her apparently her I guess this is TikTok or whatever. It's My Bloody Galantine. So I think I've heard of her, honestly. I think I've seen that name pop up through my online wanderings a few times. And yeah, I mean, more power to her. And I guess by the sounds of it, I guess I got to say that this, the article kind of took a different turn than I thought it was going to. I was thinking that she was just collecting haunted objects, which I think makes sense if you're an investigator. But I guess her it sounds like her heart's in the right place, but it is an interesting take that she's just, grabbing pieces that belong to formerly living people, whatever those pieces are, including toe tags, which I think is pretty macabre, actually. because it was attached to a corpse, not a living person. And not that, corpses are inherently, anything other than the meat bags we drive around in life. But, it's still, the idea is, it's kind of weird. I don't know. But, the take that I had initially was that, oh, she's collecting haunted objects. And no, I know that sounds really creepy to a lot of people. But honestly, collecting haunted objects, if you're an investigator, I totally see the merit in that, because you can investigate these objects at any time in this, in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go to dilapidated buildings and, set up cameras all over strange spaces and, trying to keep yourself safe and, dealing with possible asbestos and lead paint and God only, tetanus and other things from rusty objects. So, I mean, from the safety of your own home, if you have a haunted doll or if you have haunted items, you can train cameras on them and just keep measuring. And, I think it would be a pretty comprehensive situation to look for anomalies. But, that's just me. I don't know that I have any haunted objects, honestly. Not knowingly anyway. I've never noticed things like, I don't know. But I'd be open to having some. I'm not freaked out by that inherently. I don't want anything with an alleged demon or something that's really dark and horrible. But, if it was just something, I will say that some items that are haunted, like haunted dolls, again, I did a deep dive into dolls, just trying to research and understand them for a show years and years ago. And honestly, I was trying to trace the origins of dolls, and the origins are kind of nebulous of what was the original purpose of dolls. But there was a strong number of people in the historical dolls, I don't know how you say it, group, that believed that dolls were originally fashioned not as child's playthings, but as vessels for disincarnate spirits, that aren't alive anymore. They don't have a body, so they create these little facsimiles of a body for them. And somehow that evolved into, Cabbage Patch Kids and Barbies and all kinds of stuff. But, and I know that there are a lot of esoteric practices that utilize creating dolls, and everybody's heard of a voodoo doll, but there's another type of magic called a poppet magic, and it's Poppet, I think is how you spell it, and that acts as a shield. Whereas a voodoo doll, the idea is to give control over a person by having this doll and subjecting it to different things that you can cause them agony or any number of things. But the poppet works in reverse, where the person themselves creates a facsimile doll of themselves with the intention that anything evil or dark being targeted at them would instead attack the doll. And so it works as a surrogate, if you will. So there's a lot of, Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Yeah, exactly. And I know Zach Bagans takes a lot of them on the chin, but I think, John Zaffis too. The nephew of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think grandnephew nephew. But, I think it makes sense to collect objects if you're a researcher, and Zach Bagans has made a great use of not only having the haunted museum, but also opening it to tours, and then also producing shows based on things that go on there. So, I mean, it's a, good idea. I got to give him a lot of credit for that. That was really well thought out. So, but yeah, I don't know. That's my take on it. If you're in upstate New York, it was probably my Newfoundland dropping a deuce. What the hell, Dan? I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, that's what I get for just checking the chat quick. So that's our first article up tonight. My Bloody Galentine. Check it out on TikTok and look for it on other platforms and see what she's up to. I don't know. I'm sure I've seen her videos though, and checked out some of them. And I think she's pretty interesting person. I mean, she's kind of in our, she's our kind of people, I guess, to say it as best I can. But that's the first article. Let's get to more. But wait, there's more. And the next one up, they're taking another stab at it, ladies and gentlemen. There's been many attempts in recent years to try to push towards disclosure, political movements, people introducing bills with deadlines and stuff. And I mean, I appreciate that they're doing something to try to encourage disclosure, but I just don't think we're ever going to get the open books on this from the government. I mean, they have to just say two words: national security. It's an issue of national security. We can't show you that. Might jeopardize the security and sovereignty of the United States of America, or insert country here. Doesn't necessarily have to be America, but I think for all the posturing and political posturing, and it's an election year, so I mean, why not put out another bill that's going to go nowhere? But anyway, it's something. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And the article is new U.S. bill aims to force full UFO disclosure within 270 days. 270 days. Representative Tim Burchett, I think it's Burchett or Burchett, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is introducing a new bill designed to force the U.S. government to release all of its UFO files. Things could soon get very interesting for UFO disclosure advocates. That is, at least if a new congressional bill introduced by Representative Tim Burchett this week actually passes. At only 1.5 pages in length, the bill entitled UAP Transparency Act isn't exactly very large. If it did happen to pass, however, it would force the President of the United States to not only order all government agencies to release all of their UFO-related documents to the public, but also to file additional reports every quarter to update both the House and the Senate on the progress towards this goal. Burchett himself is definitely no stranger to UFO transparency, having long championed the release of government files pertaining to the phenomena. It's simple. They spend all this time telling us they don't exist, then release the files, dagnabbit, he said, during an interview with Fox News. Who says dagnabbit? That's like the Beverly Hillbillies there. I don't want some crazy fancy name for it. I just want them to do exactly what the bill is about. Even to Burchett, however, the move is not necessarily about aliens, but about money. Like I said before, it's not about little green men or flying saucers, he told Fox News in April. It's about tens of millions of dollars that our federal government is spending on something that at least some of the members of the federal government say does not exist. Yet, they will not release all the files. Well, that's an interesting take. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they'll get somewhere with this. But I don't think so. I just don't think. I think they'll get a bunch of redacted, top secret meetings, and at the best, and even then, nothing that will filter down to us. Just more political posturing, ladies and gentlemen. And Washington is just theater, isn't it? It's just theater. This is all theater going on. It's maddening. I mean, people are so divided with left and right, but I mean, they're just all a bunch of puppets. Oy. Anyway, I'm not pretending I have the answers, but I gotta tell you, I think it's no secret that most of us are pretty sick of all the political posturing going on. Most of us are just we want to live our lives. We want the economy recovered. We want life to improve for all of us, and the world to get to be a better place. And instead, we get 15,000 page bills with riders and addendums and money just going everywhere, and nobody has any, but they're spending more of it. And it's like, oh, man. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to get political, but I'm a human being. And this stuff is absolutely frightening. So let's get to the next article. Sorry, it's my show. I got a microphone, and unfortunately you have to deal with it. But anyway, let's get to the next article. This one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And let's see what this one's about. Oh, this one's been kind of big news lately. I don't know what the move is all about, but it's definitely a move that's, I don't know, the timing is peculiar. Why all of a sudden now? But we'll see what you guys think. Because according to unexplained-mysteries.com, Vatican holds press conference on the topic of supernatural phenomena. Why now, I wonder? This is from May 17th, 2024, yesterday. The Vatican has today tightened up its guidelines concerning claims of divine intervention and the supernatural. Claims of weeping statues in the face of Jesus in a piece of toast are likely to be met with significant degree of additional scrutiny from now on, thanks to new guidelines that were revealed during a Vatican press conference earlier on today. Compiled with the Vatican's, dicastery of the Doctrine of the Faith, the new guidelines are a direct response to the rising claims of supernatural phenomena and divine intervention on social media and elsewhere. Until now, there hadn't been any changes at all to the guidelines since 1978. In particular, the newly published document insists on taking a more cautious approach to claims of the supernatural, especially to make sure that someone isn't trying to profit from a scam or hoax. Championing such fraudulent claims, the authors argue, can damage the unity of the church and cause scandals and undermine the credibility of the church. Bishops will now be required to seek the approval of the Vatican before publishing any conclusions, and even the Pope himself can be consulted in particularly exceptional cases. The change in guidelines reflects the changing world we live in, and in particular, the way that information and claims of the supernatural are shared and discussed. Oh, that sounds like another controlling information, right? Whether the update will make any practical difference to the issues facing the church, however, remains to be seen. But, this is actually much more concerning than I thought, because if certain groups are given the keys to information, we're not going to talk about this one, but we'll talk about this one, and to be able to filter and disseminate what gets given out, what gets released, whether it's a government, whether it's a religion, whether it's any officiating body that grants itself control of information, I think is a scary thing. People should have access to all information. The Inquisition, here we go. The Inquisition, what a show. Yeah, amen, weird traveler. I don't like the idea of any body of people having the ability to decide what people hear and what people don't hear. And they can color it and paint it how they want. But to me, that's still just getting back to that same old thing is, the one amazing thing about the internet, there's many amazing things and there's many bad things, but the one amazing thing is that for the first time in human history, we have access to information from around the world. And there are so many of these bodies, controlling bodies, and I'm not criticizing the church specifically. I'm just saying anybody that inserts themselves as the arbiters of truth and not truth, that's a scary proposition because they now have control. And if you control information, the level of your control goes up exponentially because you can just squash things you don't like. You can just turn them off and make them not available. So ideas don't germinate in the public. And I understand you want to make sure that people have an accurate source of information as much as possible, but you can't become an arbiter. Nobody can. That's just really concerning to me. I might be overinflating the importance of this. It might be much less than that, but even though they put the supernatural, divine, all that stuff on it, if God's going to speak to a plumber, God's going to speak to a plumber. Who is a church or any body of people to say there's no way God would speak to a plumber? He would come to the Vatican. He would come to our authority and recognize that as we, and it's just like, really? Yeah, that stuff is really concerning. So I sound like Newman from Seinfeld, if you control the mail. Newman. I am not Newman. But he was a classic character for sure. Anyway, that's another piece of news that's absolutely concerning in this age of people trying to control narratives. And I'm not, again, this isn't a political statement at all. It's just there's a lot of people out there trying to control narratives. Every side of the compass on this. I'm not saying one side or the other side. I'm saying everybody's trying to control narratives, and that's a scary thing. The one big liability of our current age, more than anything, is the truth. Either people are controlling it, suppressing it, they are propagandizing it, they are attacking it, they are, obfuscating it. There's so many angles on it, and it's just so tragic and scary. I just cringe, because people deserve truth. That's not a lot to ask for. I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they keep justifying, minimizing, projecting, gaslighting, straw manning, you're not going to be in a relationship for long. You're not going to put up with that for long. And that's not a lot different than our relationship to these forces or these groups that have ordained themselves. And that's not, I mean, I'm talking political, enforcements, religious, etc., monetary groups, whatever. Anytime somebody does that, it's not going to last. It's not good. All right. I think that's going to wrap up the news. We covered a lot. That last one bugged me a lot. God, it just bugged me a lot. But anyway, it's just another day, I guess, right? At the end of the day, we're going to go to sleep and probably going to wake up tomorrow. So we'll start over then. But anyway, let's wrap up the news. Sheep don't explode as far as I'm aware. Sasquatch would be in the goon squad. Probably. Thanks. Weird Travel says, true that, Brent. Thank you. I mean, I don't get up on, well, no, maybe I do it more than I think, but I try not to get real preachy on the show because the show is about ideas and discussing phenomena more than anything. But God, sometimes I can't help myself. So I apologize. I don't mean to get too overly intense about those kind of things, but it does concern me. Being a parent, being a parent of 3 wonderful kids, and knowing that this world is only going to get more and more complicated for them. And it's already a mess. So, unless things change. So, hopefully things change. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the news. Let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to the rest of the show. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the news. Hope you got some new information or you learned something you didn't already know. If so, Brent, no apology needed. Thank you, Ruth Ann. I like that. I like you guys are so understanding. I appreciate that because last thing I want to do is really make people cringe. I just jumped on hearing you were discussing the Vatican thing. As a Catholic, I agree 110%. The timing of that decision seems unwise. Oh, thank you, Shepherdess. I appreciate that. Shepherdess is also a crafter of some amazing rosaries, and you can find those over on our Discord in the Marketplace section. They are just beautiful. Anyway, we are continuing on. We're going to get to the segment that I talked about a little bit ago. One that I'm very fond of. And let me just see if anybody new has popped in. Nope. Okay. So again, if you want to join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen, by God, you can do that. The web address is https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And if I spell it right, it's even better. Paranormal Portal. Let me copy that so I can put it over in Rumble as well. It's in the description on both sites, but I want to make sure to put it out on the chats. if anybody's just tuning in and goes, how do I join the Discord? Well, this is how. Click this link. If you don't have an account already, create one. It's free. Discord is a little bit unusual as far as most applications go. You like my Cobra Kai shirt? Isn't that cool? Anyway, Discord is a fun community, and if you like the chat rooms, if you've been around here for a while, you're going to like Discord, because many of the same people are in the Discord community, carrying on conversations and stuff. Maggie is one of the admins over there, as is Chucky, as is my minion Elijah. Sheldon is actually the person that created it, Mr. Boonabar himself, on Discord. And so there's several others too. I'm sorry. Let me go through it. There's Fourth Color. He's a mod or an admin. Android Paranormal. Although we hardly see Android anymore. I did see Android on another show, though. Traitor. He was in the audience on Mike Ricksecker's show. Mike Ricksecker is a fantastic guy. He was a guest on the podcast, and we had an amazing discussion about time and the paranormal and many aspects of it. It was very deep, but he and I shared ideas. Yeah. So at any rate, who else is? Chucky Danger. Of course, you're a mod over there, although you're not online over there. But that's okay. And I think that's it for our admins over on Discord. But wonderful group of people, the users and the admins. And there's always great discussions going on. So we have to get to this. The Discord question of the week. What would it be without that creepy music, right? So here is the Discord. This is what it looks like when you join. It looks like this. And over here on the side, these are the servers. So when you join, you'll see a Paranormal Portal logo. All you got to do to join this discussion is to click on it. If you're joined to any other servers, you just click on those, and you'll be brought to those. There's Cade's Believe podcast. There's Sarah Bignell's Yowie Central. What's going on? It's a little vacant over there. I don't know what's been going on there. But then there is the Paranormal Portal, of course. And there's Hometown Ghost Stories. Those guys are great. So they got a really busy Discord too. It's really done fantastic. So once you join, you'll be in the general. This will be right where you enter, and it'll say so and so just joined, and people will say hello to you. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is look on the left margin here. These are all the discussion areas. So if you're brand new to Discord, here's the marketplace that I was talking about. If you look under apparel, you'll see the Paranormal Portal stuff, or it's under crystals, jewelry, or miscellaneous. But anyway, there's several Discord members that also craft and create things that they've made available for sale if anybody's interested. And if you're a crafter and creator, by all means, add to those threads. We've got all these discussion groups. Here's the tutorials. If you're brand new, here's what you do. You just go to the Discord tutorial, click it with your left mouse button, scroll up with the mouse wheel, and you can just watch these videos. They'll walk you through how to use Discord. Once you figure it out, it's really pretty basic and easy, but it's just, where is everything? Then next up is the question of the week. Now, there's all these other discussion threads. We've got episode discussions dealing with specific episodes. Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFOs, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, which is really cool because people are posting their music stuff. Strange phenomena, much like the Mandela effect, and other time slips and stuff. Paranormal library, people recommending paranormal books. Paranormal movies. And paranormal art gallery. That's the new one that Rachel and Sheldon decided to put up. I haven't been in here yet. What's going on? What is going on? Let's see. Oh, Rachel put up the red cap. Oh, that's awesome. This is Rachel's work. This is her actual artistic work. So that's very cool. Yeah, that's very well done. So if you're an artist and you want to add to the art gallery, even AI art, whatever, feel free to. Sorry, I had to take a drink. A snapping plastic bottle. But we're going back up to the question of the week here. And this is what Chucky's been doing. And you keep an eye on it if you're a Discord member, and you'll see that Chucky will post a question to add everyone. I think this is the newest question, right? Yep, that's the newest one. Just want to make sure. I guess I could just look at the dates, but yeah, that would have been way too easy. So the question of the week for this week, courtesy of Chucky Danger. Thank you, Chucky, by the way. With the recent solar flares causing widespread sightings of the aurora borealis, some are saying that this is causing consciousness ascension. Ascension, I should breathe before I talk. Do you think these solar flares cause an increase in human consciousness? That's a great question. Now, I think it was yesterday we were talking about this a little bit on the show, and I think that we are intricately connected to the natural world around us, including the world and the cosmos. I think we're connected and intertwined with all of this. And so any kind of changes like that, I think, will have an effect on us. Like I brought up the example of working in corrections for a long time and how we were always very cognizant of when there was a full moon, because we could definitely see a change in the behavior of people in the correctional facility around full moons. And sure enough, when a full moon happened, not every time, but most of the most bizarre nights with lots of things going on were full moons. So if lunar cycles can affect us, why not everything else? Seasonal, atmospheric, weather, any number of things, including, cosmic forces, I suppose. So anyway, great question. And here's what people had to say. First up was John T. He says, I don't know about solar flares and increase in human consciousness, but I know alcohol causes human unconsciousness. That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, that's one I've experienced myself. And you don't know what the hell happened until the next day, and everybody tells you what an idiot you were. Yeah, been there. That's why one of the reasons why I'm not a drinker today. All right, next up is Animal Annie. I think the flux in geomagnetic energy affects people physically, and it does so with animals like dogs. Some people like myself are sensitive since I sense true north. But ascension? I don't know. Maybe for some. People keep claiming this or that, and let's hope it's that way for some. I doubt it could be that way for all 8 billion, though. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, wouldn't it be great if you woke up tomorrow morning and everybody was these ascended souls, and all of a sudden, well-being and love and kindness was the way of the world? It's like, okay. That would be amazing. All right. Animal Annie responding to John says, especially with tequila. We used to call it tequila. That damn worm, I'm telling you. I think it was my 30th birthday. And it was when I was working at the correctional, and a bunch of those guys took me out. And my God, they were force feeding me tequila all night. I went to bed probably about 2:30 a.m. Had to work the next day. I was planning on just going out for a couple of drinks, and man, it just got stupid. And I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but this is a true story. I woke up the next morning, and I was still drunk, and I had to go to work. I was sweating tequila. I mean, I sobered up real quick but I was like, oh my God. So I don't like tequila. Not by itself, and I'm talking shots. I'm not talking like, margarita. No, it was like rocket fuel. All right, next up comes Comet Man. Lewis weighing in. He says, only those who are spiritual advancement, those aura can activate our junk DNA to and raising the frequency and vibration. Maybe. I mean, that's a fair thought, Lewis. I don't pretend to know. But again, it's an energetic event, and perhaps it influences our energetic fields. That's fair enough. Yami comes in next. Yami, I'm not familiar with that name, but good to meet you, Yami. If you want spiritual advancement, come to Nepal. Habibi. Oh, very cool. I think it'd be great to go to Nepal. Other than the altitude and the lower oxygen, up at some of those monasteries, but I'd love to go see it. But yeah, the Nepalese are a very spiritual people, very incredible people, as I understand it. All right, Aggravated Progressive comes in next. The universe is endless, I hear, he says to Chucky Danger. Yeah, I think the universe has an end, but I get what you're saying there, Aggravated. It's immense. It was immense. All right, Karen Alberting comes in and says, no, I don't think it does cause an increase in human consciousness. I think maybe it makes people more aware of just how amazing the world and space is and how small we truly are, and some people might actually gain consciousness. Some people I know were scared for whatever reason. I wasn't. I was just in awe and like a kid, incredibly happy to see it. I think it can possibly mess with the internal mechanism of a person's body and affects it indifferent in a similar way that barometric pressure can affect people and give them headaches. I think it just depends on the person. All I know is that it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and I'm still just amazed by the wonder of it all and the amazing things this world does. Yeah, fair enough. Boy, I need to slow down in the mind and so the typing fingers can catch up with the thought. Makes no sense, one of the sentences. I meant it can affect a person's body differently depending on the person, like barometric pressure and headaches. Sure. Yeah, I think you're right. And it might be a physiological effect. It might be an energetic effect. It might be both. We just don't understand those energies, and we don't understand our own body energies other than neurochemical electrical signals. I mean, but that's the rudimentary stuff. There's so much more going on with our, spiritual energetics, our with things like auras and stuff. And that might seem out there to some people, but I think it's a real function of what we are. We are, we're spiritual beings. We're not bodies. We can see the measurements and we can measure and see the electrochemical reactions that go on in a functioning body, but we can't see the spiritual elements and all of that happening. We just can see just those electrochemical things, as far as I understand. So, again, it's a different kind of energy, but we don't know what it is. So it's hard to say whether or not something like geomagnetic storms and the aurora borealis and solar flares and cosmic rays and possibly, pulsars from deep in space might affect us for all we know. We just don't know enough. The Batman comes in next and says, no, I just think it makes people look up for a change and think about something beyond their immediate circumstances, which is awesome. That's good too. I mean, anytime people pull their faces out of a cell phone or their computer screens and start focusing on the amazing world around them, I think is a wonderful thing. Now, I'm as guilty as anybody as far as staring at screens. I'm in this chair for about 12 to 14 hours every day, sometimes more, depending on how well I'm sleeping. So, it's just a function of what I do, but it's also, I'm pursuing a dream here. So, I love what I do. Artemis Rex comes in next, says, I think putting the sewer monster down for North Carolina was kind of an oversight. I mean, we know what that was, just a big sack of weird worm things. They should have gone with the Brown Mountain Lights, much more famous. What is he talking about? Rosemary Chives. I don't know what this is in reference to, Artemis. I'm sorry. It's not really the question of the week, though, but it sounds like you're responding to Rosemary, which may have happened somewhere before. Anyway, let's continue on and go to Rachel, who closes out the question of the week. I don't think it intentionally causes ascension. There may be people seeking that, and the aurora borealis can light the path, so to speak. Genuine seekers will find ascension as they've been on the path a while before these events happen. I got to move my bottle. These events help. Yeah, that's fair enough too. It might not just be. I don't think that anybody's just going to have a light switch flipped on in them by some external force and suddenly they're, just spiritually aware and ascending in their energetic consciousness. I don't think it's any one thing like that, but I think what's going on is that, I don't know. I don't know that it's an aurora borealis, but I think this age that we're in, this current age, people are desperately seeking change. And I think that is a global shift. Now, that is not an awakening in and of itself, but the urge seems to be in everybody that whatever's going on in this world, it's not good enough anymore. Like, it's like trying to wear sneakers that are like 3 sizes too small. And you know, they're not comfortable. And that's the way the world feels for many people right now, is that the status quo that was acceptable for decades, for generations, is suddenly not fitting anymore. And maybe that's the global shift, leading people to seek their ascension, so to speak. Like perhaps the impetus is placed there by a universal consciousness and causing us to stir and to get anxious. And maybe some of what we see in the world is the reflection of that people are walking around with these tight shoes that don't fit anymore and they're not comfortable. They want to take them off and walk around barefoot or get a better pair that fits. And it's a metaphor, but I mean, perhaps that's it. I think that ascension is a journey for anybody that's looking for that. I think that it's many things combined. It's not just one thing, but never will there be a switch that's flipped and suddenly everybody's ascended, because it's a process, and it's a process of spiritual and energetic expression, and a journey. It's a journey. So that's my take on it. But great thoughts, everybody. God, that's really cool. Great question, Chucky. I mean, it's great to address that stuff because it does comes up in a lot of esoteric circles. Well, there's big downloads coming today from the sun. And it's like, maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know what this stuff is. I don't know what those charts that you see where it shows the energy from the sun and how there's Schumann resonance is way up. And it's like, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't understand it, and I don't pretend to understand it, so I can't speak against it nor for it. It's very foreign to me, but it's just my own personal takes, and these are your personal takes. So thank you all. No wrong answers again. We don't know, but I love the way you guys think. So very cool. All right, that was the Discord question of the week. Boom, baby. Boom. Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. So very cool. Thank you, everybody, for weighing in on that and taking the time to answer that. Again, the Discord link is in the chats. It's in the show descriptions, whether on YouTube or Rumble or wherever you're seeing the show. Just look at the show notes or the description, and you'll see the Rumble link or the Discord link in there. You can join. And again, you can check us out on any of the platforms we're on. We are currently simulcast streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, however order you want. Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. We're streaming on all 3. It will get uploaded to BitChute later when that syncs, but I don't stream live to BitChute. I've been thinking about doing Facebook as well, but I don't know. Facebook is kind of a pain because there's no standard way to do it. You got to keep checking their settings and then synchronizing everything, and I never did get good at that. I tried YouTube streaming years and years ago, and it was always a headache, and it didn't work well for me. Maybe I was doing it wrong, but anyway, we have a new assistant principal. Oh, jeez. I'm going to move. Oh, okay. Dan's got a little angst today. Well, I hear you, Dan. I mean, there's always those places. And there's always those people, no matter where you go, where you work, there's always going to be some of those people. And unfortunately, oftentimes those people are in charge. And that's not easy. That's why I love what I do. I've had a lot of wonderful jobs through the years of my life, but I've worked for my fair share of real jerks, real self-important people that were happy to treat everything like it was an inquisition. And it was just like, oh God, So I love what I do now because I do this. This is my journey. This is my life. It's not easy. It's a tough life, but it's, that old saying, you find what you love doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's the way I feel. So, but I hope it works out for you, Dan. And I'm sorry that you're in a situation like that. There's always those people. Always. All right. All right. Don't fire the gardener. All right. Here we go. I'm just looking to see if I've missed anything in the chats quick because we are still rolling. All right. What are we going to do now? What time is it? God, it's already 8:14. All right. I want to get to an article quick. We're going to break into Phantoms and Monsters a little bit early tonight because I wanted to hit this one. This one sounded really neat. It's not a cryptid story, though, but it does have to do with something really strange going on. And I've only read the headline. Full disclosure, I never pre-read anything on the shows. I'm reading everything cold. So that way you'll understand when I screw things up. It's just because sometimes my mind and my mouth don't match up. And so... Anyway, we're gonna read it together, but this is Phantoms and Monsters. This is Lon Strickler's site, and Lon is a wonderful guy. He's been at this for decades, literally decades. He's just a pillar in the paranormal Fortean communities, and his phantomsandmonsters.com has been a real mainstay for a long time. This is one of those sites where I cut my teeth. I listen to Wes, I listen to Dark Waters, I listened to the confessionals when that came out, and I checked out Phantoms and Monsters. I also Expanded Perspectives. I used to listen to Expanded Perspectives a lot. I loved that show back in the day. That one got me through a lot of time, just getting into it. So they all these many different sites shape my vision for what became the Paranormal Portal, and I try to do it justice. But anyway, I love Phantoms and Monsters, and if you're not familiar with it, go to phantomsandmonsters.com, and you can find thousands of encounter stories of people encountering weird creatures, Bigfoot, Dogman, lots of paranormal, weird UFO stuff, abduction scenarios, etc. It's all there, and these are all allegedly first-hand reports, or at least sometimes they're given to Lon from other people, or he's referenced to them by other people he trusts. But in any case, Lon does look into them a bit before he publishes them. So they've been vetted to a degree, which is always nice. But Lon also has research efforts that they do. He has a bunch of affiliated people that work with him doing research across the country into all of these different topics, and they submit articles as well based on what they're researching and stuff. So you can find information about Lon's published works, his books. They are brilliant as well, and his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio, and you can find that on YouTube and check it out, because Lon does live streaming as well and talks about some of the articles on his site and many other weirdness. So he's just a great guy, and he's been a guest on our podcast a few times. So Barbara says, I think you make a great point, Brent. Do I? I don't remember what point I made, Barbara. Barbara's saying that on Rumble, and I'm not sure what we're talking about here. I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm not sure what that was in reference to. But anytime I make a great point is a win. I don't always know if I'm doing that or not. So I'm glad you think so. Okay, so we're going to get to this article, and this one is a weird one. It came from Friday, May 17th. If you let me know, Barbara, I'll reference back to that. I just don't know what that's in reference to. And this is, I don't know if I turned that off. I think I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Left it on. Yep, rookie move. Again, this is phantomsandmonsters.com. Marietta, Pennsylvania mystery. A house doesn't just vanish. No, not usually. Not usually. As a side note, folks, I've been researching something that I'm kind of excited about. Been digging into it throughout the day today, and it's pretty interesting. It has to do with the giants on Solomon Islands. And I have to give credit where credit's due. I caught a clip of the confessionals, where Tony had interviewed this gentleman who was talking about one specific figure in that, and some historical references to what happened there. And it's pretty amazing stuff. So we'll dig into that as soon as I can pull it all together. It might become a podcast episode. It might become a standalone video. Might be done on a show. I'm not sure yet, but it's interesting. So, Marietta, Pennsylvania mystery. A house doesn't just vanish. Not usually. They don't usually do that. An interesting mystery that revolves around a house on a property in Marietta, Pennsylvania that, according to the witness, simply vanished. What occurred? I received the following interesting inquiry. Hi, I grew up in the small town of Marietta, Pennsylvania, and I've had paranormal experiences with friends in the woods down by the Susquehanna River. I know I've heard that word before. I'm just trying to remember how to pronounce it. Where a lot of Native Americans once lived for centuries. It's a quiet little town, although not much anymore, but always felt a little bit off. However, growing up, there was always this nice house that sat on top of the hill with a field where the neighborhood kids and I used to go play football. Once I grew older and turned 21, it was beside a road. I just used to walk to get alcohol at the local pizzeria, Marco's. The house was never something I didn't pay attention to. I've seen the residents outside, and there was an older blue Mustang. I presume the father of the household was working all the time during the summer. They seemed pretty happy. He had a wife and 2 small kids that I saw sometimes. Well, the night before things got weird, I was walking up to go get some alcohol and stop in for a few drinks when I vividly remember giving the man a casual nod hello as I walked on up. I don't remember what he was doing, but I do remember he was reaching into his car for something as we made eye contact and nodded. I walked by on my way back home, and everything was dark there. Blue Mustang in the back driveway, and their other vehicle, a white generic van, was there as well. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Well, I walked back down to my house, cracked open my beer in the garage out back, and had a good night listening to the radio and hanging out. The house wasn't in visual sight, but the road was, and I wouldn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Well, I woke up the next day around the early afternoon. This is a self-party story, and that's I don't know if that's a good thing or not, to sit around drinking beer until you get tired and go to bed and then wake up at noon. Around early afternoon, he says, anyway, I had a typical hangover, and admittedly, I was an alcoholic at the time, so my hangover cure was, well, more booze. Oof. I got showered and changed and left my house on that midsummer day on my usual route to Marco's. I put my earbuds in and didn't even pay attention to whether or not a house I always expected to be there existed anymore. I got to Marco's and sat and had a few Jack and Cokes and talked with the regulars like I always did for a few hours. And on my way back with my booze to end the night, I didn't have my headphones in and was feeling a good buzz. I walked down the road by the house like normal until I gazed up the corner and saw nothing. I was quite perplexed, as one would be in this situation. But what made it worse was the warehouse medical lab for GlaxoSmithKline. The workers weren't allowed to smoke on the lot, as I already knew from asking long before. So a few of them were standing at the edge of the road there right next to where the house always was. I looked at them confused, and they gave me a confused stares back as well. Wasn't there a house here? They looked back at me and shrugged, trying to figure out what house I was talking about. There wasn't a patch of dirt where a recently dismantled house might be. It was completely covered in grass. The spot where the foundation was just natural with the rest of the hill, like nothing was ever there. Even the 10-foot or so makeshift driveway where their cars parked, that was made up of dirt and stones, was just a natural patch of grass. The next day, I had my mother drive by there with me, and even she couldn't figure out what house I was talking about. Nobody could remember the house being there but me. Sounds like some Mandela dimensional shift for this guy. Unfortunately, I can't find any of the kids I used to play sports with in that field to ask them if they remember, and I admit that would be a little weird anyway, so I want to see if there's any way I can prove something weird happened or disprove myself, because there is a thing our brains do that changes memories and what we see to make more sense. My only problem is I can still remember the feeling that night of knowing it was there the day before. The witness later wrote, the house was at the corner of Wasp and North Porter Street. And there's a link, I guess. The zip code is 17547 if you want to investigate, and it's on the west side of town by GSK. Then later updates, in an interesting turn of events, I found an old Google Maps street view that does have the house, but it's from 2011, well before the house disappeared, and has cars in the driveway, and I can somewhat see the Google Map car didn't go past the house directly, but they're not the vehicles I 100% vividly remember, as I've seen them many times from 2013 until the disappearance, and likely new tenants, or they upgraded their vehicles. Unfortunately, the satellite view is only giving me the latest winter of 2019 views, so I'm still hoping someone knows a way to find earlier cached satellite images from Google Maps to preferably see around 2014 to 2015, around the time it disappeared. Hopefully someone can help lead me in the right direction to getting actual proof this house disappeared suddenly without an explanation. Lon notes from Lon at the end, does anyone feel like checking this out? I wouldn't know how to personally, but it is an interesting story. I've heard a few of these stories through the years of people driving by grass lots, and the next day there's a huge business there, just like overnight. That was out of California. And one where a whole shopping center disappeared, and it was just a grass field all of a sudden. And I don't, here's the thing. It sounds like there's just some kind of memory defect. And of course, this person was an alcoholic, so obviously it's raising havoc with their brain, possibly their memory and cognitive functioning. But this house was there for a lifetime, and then suddenly wasn't. I don't think he was an alcoholic his whole life. Maybe a significant portion of it. I don't know, but either way, that's a strange story. And I don't, what do you make of that? Do you think perhaps he did a Mandela like dimensional shift, and suddenly it wasn't where he was from anymore, but due to the course of his life, he shifted into a different version? Maybe it was going to get really ugly for him, and this was his, swan song chance to turn it all around. I don't know. I often wonder. And these things, while they seem like the main event, are probably just peripheral to the fact that his life needed to shift, and to do that, he couldn't do it in the reality he was living, so he slipped into a different version of it. I don't know. Just a pet theory again. I can't quantify that or explain it or even try to make it make sense. It's just, people are seeing something. Again, with like any of these things, Mandela effects or otherwise, it's like we do. I have very distinct memories of things growing up that have changed. And, what do you do with that? And the debunkers or the skeptics explain it away as just a defect of memory. It's just a memory defect. It's just a common psychological thing. For a person, a memory defect can be a common psychological thing. But for entire segments of the population, I just don't buy that. I don't think that washes any longer, because you're talking about huge parts of the population remembering things being one way and they're now another way. And so I think that there's something really profound going on with this. And again, this is the breadcrumbs, but it's so easy for people to dismiss. It's a memory defect. It's just a memory glitch. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I can't say it's true for every one of them that's claimed to be the case. Like, I couldn't tell you if Fruit Loops was F-R-O-O-T or F-R-U-I-T. I didn't care. I just grabbed the box with the bird on it and ate the cereal. The one thing I would pay attention to as a kid was all the crappy stuff on the back, the mazes and the word games and stuff. I mean, that was what I focused on, not the specific brand name. And I couldn't tell you if it's M-A-Y-E-R or M-E-Y-E-R or M-A-Y-E-R for Oscar Mayer, or, a lot of them are, I mean, they sure could be memory glitches, but I remember the Berenstain Bears. I remember that very specifically. And one of the reasons I remember why is because in Minnesota there's I was familiar with it anyway, but in Minnesota there is a theme park called Valley Fair. And in there they had the Berenstain Bear section of the theme park. And it was, I was always thinking, I wonder if that's a Jewish name, Berenstain, because it was when I was a young adult that came about. And I had a little kid. But I mean, not that mattered, but it just occurred to me. It's like Berenstain, huh? That sounds like a Jewish name. And then all of a sudden it's Berenstain, A-I-N. It's like, wait a minute. It was never Berenstain. So, again, I remember it as Berenstain, says Sherry as well. Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I don't know what to make of it. Berenstain just sounds dumb, Chucky says. I thought they had rebranded it, said Maggie. Yeah, exactly. And even the biblical reference of, and the lion will lay down with the lamb. That was always the case. I remember seeing quilts in our church. I went to an Episcopal church. There was a quilt that was in one of the community centers that showed a lion laying down next to a little lamb. And it was very clear, but now it's when the wolf lays down with the lamb. That's a huge one. It's like, what? It's Fruit of the Loom, and the line from Star Wars was with Darth Vader and Luke that gets me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a subtle thing. Hi, Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father. Or something like that. I mean, it's a subtle difference, but it's a difference. Yes, lion will lay down with the lamb. Now it's wolf. Yeah, it's just creepy stuff like that. It's like, who's writing this stuff? Who? It's like there's a production team off camera. Like, yeah, let's change the lion to a wolf. Nobody's really familiar with lions. There's also apparently references of like corn in the Bible, which wouldn't make any sense because corn wasn't introduced in the biblical areas until much, much later in history. So I don't know. I mean, it's crazy to look into, and I'm not a scholar on this by any measure, but I've certainly looked into it a bunch. But these disappearing places might be another part of that, rather than it just being wordplay or, mirror, mirror on the wall, magic mirror on the wall. It was always mirror, mirror when I was a kid, but then it's magic mirror all of a sudden. I mean, it's obviously a magic mirror because the damn thing talked. They didn't need to do it all, that redundancy. It's like, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, Anyway, I thought I heard that the Berenstain was always spelled in some places. I've never heard that weird travel. You might be right. You could be, but it was in every place that I knew it, which is in Minnesota. So, yeah, it was definitely mirror, mirror, Wizard Moon said. Yeah, these things, I mean, it really cooks your bacon when you think about it, because it's like there's these unseen directors. And I'm not saying that it's a government or some kind of, conspiracy like that. I'm saying like it's almost like there's people out of phase with us that are just flipping things around. Like they're just messing with us, and they're not people necessarily, but they're like some other intelligence, Yeah. No, it was mirror, mirror. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look any of them up. Look up the Mandela effect stuff. I got a few of them posted on Instagram. That were put up there, and there's some great examples there. So, Check out the Instagram. If you're not already following the Paranormal Portal on Instagram, you should. You should. And on X and on Facebook and on the podcast, anywhere where we are. TikTok. I'm on TikTok. So I also remember Looney Tunes. Every time I see Looney Tunes, my brain rebels against it. Even now with the word suggesting tunes after I typed loony. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, why would it be tunes, Tunes, right? Because it was cartoons. That's what Looney Tunes was. Why would it be tunes as in music? That doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's crazy. It really cooks your bacon once you start digging into it. It's like, this rabbit hole goes really, really deep. And on the surface, it just looks like, well, who cares if it's Looney Tunes, like Tons or Tunes? And it's like, but it's just what it's like you get a sore on your arm. It's like, well, it's just a sore. You know, and you don't think about it. Then, you just ignore it because it's just this little bump. It's this tiny little bump. And then it grows and it's spread, and all of a sudden your entire arm has this huge sore on it. It's like, well, I should have probably looked into that a little bit. A little late on this one, as the doctor's sawing it off. It's like, this is just because it seems like trivial stuff on the surface. The ramifications of what it could mean are enormous. And it might be giving us a little bit of a glimpse into the mechanics of reality. That things can shift, or maybe we shifted. Maybe we, big segments of our population shifted for whatever reason. And I've heard any number of claims. Well, it's because CERN screwed something up and the universe we used to live in was destroyed. And so we automatically phased into this new version of reality that's almost identical, but there's little differences. Well, if that's the case, that's more than just little differences. That's an incredible thing, because our consciousness just leapfrogged into another version of reality. So that's no small thing. I mean, really, that's huge. I think some of us shifted, Sherry says. You could be right. Yeah, absolutely. Tom Cruise no longer wearing sunglasses in the dance scene. Really? He isn't? Oh, I didn't know that. Risky Business was the movie. Yep, I remember that. Or we all shifted and only some remember. Well, that's possible too, Sherry. That's a great point. What if, other segments of the population just don't recall? Like there was supposed to be a complete mind wipe, but when you're shifting 8 billion people, maybe it's not foolproof. That's a good point. I never thought of that. Great thought. Great idea. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the one that so many people are having trouble with. Well, yeah, I mean, all of them. Brent, they try to change the words to suit them. But who? Who, Jess? That's what I don't understand. And that's the weird part. But yeah, you could be right. You could be absolutely right. But who are they? And what are they doing? And why are they doing it, if that's the case? Some people are shift resistant. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's a good way to look at it, Annie. Thank you. See y'all next time. You leaving, Aussie? Well, good night. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being in here, brother. An interview with a vampire flip-flopped. Yeah. Interview with the vampire or with a vampire. Yeah. Yeah. And what if it happens again? And suddenly it's not Beauty and the Beast, it's Beauty and the Beats. There's this animated beat that's stuck in a castle. I don't know, I'm just being stupid, but you never know, jeez. And then everybody will think we're all nuts, because we'll be like, that used to be Beauty and the Beast. Wasn't it Beauty and the Beats? Or the Beat? I don't know. Just being an idiot, but that's what I do. All right. Well, we're going to continue on. I think we're going to get into the cryptids because we're winding down to the last 20 minutes of the show. God, it goes fast. It really, really does. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, it's time. And, of course, Special thanks to Grumpy Owl for this. Yeah, like a veggie Maggie. Beauty and the Beat. It's this big red beet running around that doesn't like people in its castle. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. In my head, that was hilarious, but anyway. That's a strange place in my head. Hey, David Barnes, good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in. It's great to catch you coming into my show live. David Barnes is a wonderful friend and a very talented musician, ladies and gentlemen, and his girlfriend is an incredible designer of jewelry. She has the Love Rocks company, and you'll see that in the Discord as well, so check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the cryptids. Working to shorten that bit. Why would you shorten it? It's great the way it is. I like it just like it is. I like the heartbeat and all that, the build. It's got a great build. I can't help but think it's a sign that we live in a simulation or illusion of some kind. Hence why the Fermi paradox exists. Yeah, could be. I mean, this certainly could all be artificial. We could just be plugged into some kind of matrix like the old movie. But I don't know. I don't think that we'll probably ever figure it out. But who knows? Anything's possible. Or maybe our overlords will finally go, well, you finally made it to the point we don't need to have this plugged in anymore, and turn it off. And, there's giant mushrooms and all kinds of craziness. And plumbers rescuing princesses or whatever reality looks like. I can't pretend to understand it either, Maggie, but it's interesting to think about. We will find out eventually. I guess you're right, probably. Probably not in this. I sent you a PNG images for members, emojis as well. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll have to look at those. I'm so backlogged. It's just insane. I am so backlogged, but I appreciate all your efforts and thank you so much. All right, so we're going to get into the cryptids now. I guess I can close this article because we are done with that. And we're not going to do this one because we've been doing that the last couple nights. But I want to start with Sasquatch Chronicles blog. There's a new one of an upcoming guest. And this is going to be an upcoming show on Sasquatch Chronicles. So we're going to get a little, a sneak peek as Wes posted it on his blog. And special thanks to Wes Germer for letting us use his blog, as well as Lon and, all the other sites. All right, upcoming guest, like a kid hiding in a bush. A listener writes, I was raised in Washington and lived all over the state. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Did we already do this one? Yeah, we did. How did I do that? Raised all over the state at different times of my life. Bigfoot and Sasquatch is something that are naturally spoken about. Yeah, I read this one. Don was here. Yeah. Yep, we read this one. Sorry, I didn't close the tab. Let's get to the one that I'm supposed to read. Sorry about that. It's just the way I work. All right, this one's a shorter one. And it's Cassatot Falls Encounter. I don't know where Cassatot Falls is. Deep South Iowa, it looks like. A listener writes, me and my fiance are from Houma, Louisiana, which is deep South Louisiana, not Iowa, Louisiana. We planned a trip to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, but our cabin wasn't going to be ready until Thursday at 4 p.m., so we drove up to Cassatot Falls to camp Wednesday night. We got there at about 10 p.m., set up the tent, and then went walking to see if we could see the falls with headlamps. While looking for the falls, we noticed white glowing eyes staring at us from the riverbank. Watched them until they blinked, and we took off back to the campsite. Made a fire. While making a fire, noticed two more glowing white eyes watching us from 70 yards up in the mountain that was behind us. And it was using a tree to swing back and forth. Later, went to bed, and they came into the campsite ran us out of the tent at 3 a.m. However, when I started to hear them getting close to camp, I put my phone on record, but when we left the tent in such a hurry, I forgot my phone in the tent. So for 2 hours we were in town waiting for daylight so we could go back, and my phone was recording and caught bipedal walking and weird noises. Also found tracks when we went back. So, yeah. And somebody says, oh, okay then. Glad you all got out of there. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a show Wes is going to do or not. It would be interesting to hear if that audio... I was checking to see if the audio was posted, but it doesn't appear to be. So, very, very interesting stuff for sure. What is this one? No, we're on Phantoms and Monsters. Yep. So we're going back to Phantoms and Monsters. And again, special thanks to Lon for this. I'm trying to see. Here we go. This is from May 10th, 2024. Again, phantomsandmonsters.com. Yellow-eyed creature encounter ruins Tennessee man's life. Ugh. Yeah, I can't imagine that's probably good for your psyche to see yellow eyes. A Tennessee man describes a bizarre encounter that a family friend had on his farm that occurred in the late 1940s. This friend has an encounter with an unknown yellow-eyed entity or creature. My grandfather served in World War II. He was on a Navy destroyer. He served with a gentleman and they were heading to the Pacific Theater. They moved back here to Tennessee and my grandfather's friend bought a house out on a farm out here in Jonesboro, about 20 minutes south of me. They noticed there were some really weird things going on at the house when they first moved, but they never really thought too much of it. They would hear knocking on the door at night, that kind of stuff. Well, one night he was sleeping in bed and he heard this blood-curdling shriek from outside in the back forest. There's a wooded area back there, right behind his farmhouse, and it sounds like a woman being murdered, so this guy's not afraid of anything. So he takes his shotgun out and goes out into the backyard and looks around. He sees a pair of yellowish eyes staring at him. Well, this isn't a pole sticking out of ground that's 3 or 4 feet off the ground. This is about 7 feet, and just the yellow eyes. That's all you could see. He took one look at it and he said point blank, he shot it right between the eyes, and it didn't even flinch. It just looked at him. He could not make out a shape. All he could see were the eyes, and he said they looked almost human-like. Some type of regression was done on the man, but he had a complete mental breakdown shortly afterward. He always blamed the encounter with the yellow-eyed being for ruining his life, until the day he died. Yeah, that's horrifying. I mean, shot right between the eyes with a shotgun. I'm assuming a slug, but it could have been shot. But either way, that's should put down pretty much anything we know of. That's a hell of a load. Not sure how far he was away, but I'm sure he's probably a good shot. Probably didn't miss, but doesn't look like he really hit something either. That's terrifying. All right, we're going to go to the next one, and this is it. Pale crawler. And these are stories that really disturb me. I don't know what it is about the pale crawlers, or the rake, or the ghoul, or whatever name you want to give to it. Pale crawler humanoid seen while ATV riding back in eastern Kentucky mountains. All right, let's see what this one has to say. 2 teenage girls have a bizarre encounter with a pale white crawler humanoid while ATVing in the eastern Kentucky mountains. I received the following account. I'm not sure what I saw. Names and the details leading up to this encounter aren't very important, so I'll just set the scene. 2 14-year-old girls on an isolated eastern Kentucky mountaintop a few hours after I flipped the ATV, injuring my friend's leg. I had tried to act quickly, but I was too weak to get the ATV upright by myself. Once the both of us lifted it, we promptly flooded the engine. I helped my friend up, put it in neutral, and decided to push the ATV down the mountain with my friend, occasionally tapping the brake. Suddenly, she halts our progress and asks me to jump on the back. In front of us was a monster of a snake. It was the fattest, angriest hog snake I've ever seen. I don't think hog snakes are venomous, though. I don't know if hog snake and hog nose snake are the same thing, but we had hog nose snakes in Minnesota, and they were benign. They weren't dangerous. Right across our path, blocking us. By this time, it was almost dusk because the snake was easily the size of my arm. That's a big snake, though. Jeez. We decided to just stare it down, waiting for it to crawl on, and finally, I could push again. Though I wasn't thrilled about walking next to this monster, I didn't have a long way to go, and we'd be able to coast on down, or maybe my parents would come searching for us. There was still plenty of light, but the sky was pink from sunset. Simultaneously, our heads snapped to look behind us. I'm not entirely sure why we even looked. There wasn't a sound, no twig snap. It had to be something instinctual because we both looked back at the tree-lined path we'd slowly come through. Every hair that I own is raised. My blood ran cold in an instant. I spared one quick glance at my friend, mostly because I hadn't seen it yet. She had. She was completely frozen, and I followed her gaze to about 15 feet behind me. There sat this creature, hunched over, boneless yet with some humanoid form. It was skin, pale white skin. At first I thought that was all it was, and then, barely a second after that panicked observation, I noticed its face, its eyes. They were so deep set that at first terrified glance, I thought that they were only empty black pits. The setting sun struck them just enough so that I could see the reflection. Its nose was flat. This hunched, naked, pale creature was studying me just the same. Its lips were pale, pink, and trembling. A horrifying thought informed me that this gaunt creature was famished or starving. As if it heard my inner dialogue, it raised its skin-wrapped skeleton hand to silence me. Then it waved its claws, one finger at a time. Then, the sweetest sound that I'd ever heard, the ATV started. My friend must have turned away long enough to try it, so I risked it as well. I leaped onto the back of the ATV, sobbing, and wrapped my arms around my buddy so tightly, when I glanced back, it was gone. Halfway down the mountain, we ran into my parents, and it was pitch black by that time. We survived and talked about it later at the hospital. Turns out she didn't even know how to start the ATV. It wasn't her. Oh. So when it was waving its fingers, was it making the ATV start? Oh, that's a new take. I never heard that before. It's been a few years since this happened. I haven't been back on the mountain, and I'm still friends with her, and we've talked about it a few times. We've theorized various possibilities as to what it could have been, but we can't agree. I've tried to find similar encounters, but even in mythology. I'm sure that I've not explained it very well, but I did try my best. Do you have any ideas what it is? Did it want to hurt us or help us out? We both saw it, so at least I know I'm not crazy. Wow, there's some commentary from readers here. Wendy W. comments first, but that's interesting. So, was it indeed a pale crawler, as if what we come to understand, or could it have been some version of gray alien or whatever? I don't know. But I mean, come on, if that woman that was injured didn't know how to start it, and suddenly the thing just came to life, and this thing was waving its fingers one at a time, like, I guess I should do it in the camera. Was it making it start? Wow. That's weird. That's a weird take. Usually the pale crawlers are, I mean, they come across as very animalistic. They don't seem to be dealing with a lot of, higher functioning. They're just, they're kind of, they're kind of like Gollum in the Lord of the Rings. I mean, they're just these kind of tormented souls, for lack of a better term. I don't know. But weird story. Very interesting. Let's go to the next one if we have time. Let me just see. Oh, it's 53. Oh, man, I wanted to get to the canines. I guess we could go one more. I'll do one more. This is some kind of horrifying canine cryptid in Salt Spring Island, British Columbia. Chucky, be careful up there, brother. Twin brothers are hiking and camping on Salt Spring Island, British Columbia. They hitch a ride and soon see an unknown creature that has no explanation cross the road in front of them. I received the following account. This is the first time I'm sharing this outside of my family. It was the fall of 1996 at Salt Spring Island, British Columbia, Canada. I went on a camping trip with my twin brother to Ruckle Park on the south side of the island. I think that's the direction. We caught a ferry to Full Ford Harbor early in the morning. We set off for an approximate 8-kilometer hike through county roads to the campground before it got dark, and we both headed off with our backpacks. After about 40 minutes of walking along the country road, the light was starting to fade and the darkness was coming. We started to hurry along, talking and planning our route. My brother suggested we maybe hitchhike if a car passes. I thought it was a good idea since by that time it was getting dark. And by the time we first saw a car coming, we were about 4 or 5 kilometers out. Finally, a car pulled over and it was now dark. I was a little surprised. It was a young lady with a small child, and she said, "Hop in, I'll give you guys a ride to the park entrance." Well, I introduced us both and we got into the car. My brother got in the back seat and I jumped in the front seat beside the driver. We headed off down the road. Just after a few minutes in the headlights, we saw this creature on the side of the road. The young lady slowed the car down and we all stared out the front window in amazement. Slowly walking across the road was this creature. It was about the size of a bear and kind of looked like that, but also a wolf. It had long black hair, and I could see patches of skin and muscles. It didn't look well. Short snout, nose, a cross between a bear and a wolf, and it looked towards the car. Its eyes reflected a little, and its muscles moved in the lights. Slowly it walked across the road on all 4 legs. The back legs looked dog-like and strong. The front legs were strong. And the body was skinny but strong. The black hair was bald in places. If I had to describe the creature, I'd have to say a werewolf. And I know it sounds crazy. Maybe an emaciated bear? It was horrifying. As it crossed the road, it looked up and leaped across the ditch and up an embankment. I didn't notice any tail, just a strong back and hind legs. And then it was gone. We all just said, "What the heck was that? Deer? Dog? Bear?" No. It was a cross between a bear and a wolf, maybe sick. It was very scary, and all I know is what I saw. And it's something I have never forgotten. Man, that'd change your feeling about camping, though, wouldn't it? I think we need to go to a hotel. After a few nights of camping, we walked past the area where we saw this creature in the ditch, and back were about 10 feet to the bottom of the wire fence. That creature must have jumped the fence also, probably about 14 feet. I don't think bears can jump like that. Wow. You just never know. You just never know, folks, where this stuff is going to show up. It could be any moment of any place, really. I mean, that's the thing with the paranormal and the unusual, the unknown. And granted, it's kind of sounds tongue-in-cheek, because if it's in the unknown, you just don't know. But I mean, it's not on a schedule. It could be anywhere at any time. And always the skeptics are like, where's the pictures? Pictures or it didn't happen. Well, I mean, who the hell's thinking of a picture? Obviously, it's something we all think as a secondary thought, but initially, when you're dealing with the shock of seeing something you've never seen before, hell no, there's no pictures because people are in a state of shock. I mean, if they had their full faculties and were thinking clearly, yeah, obviously. But nobody's prepared for this stuff when it happens. It just happens. And you do the best you can in the moment, I guess. But I don't know. That's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I don't know if we ended up going long or not. Let's look at the time. Actually, perfect time. It is literally 1 minute to 9, so got through it. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you for joining me on this journey. There was a new Ogopogo sighting, I forgot to say. I thought we just covered Ogopogo sighting. I know I just covered one very recently on the news, I think, Chucky. But yeah, there might be more Ogopogo showing up. But anyway, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the show. So anyway, we do these live streams every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It depends on where you are, what that means to you. For your time zone, you'll have to sort that out, but love to have you come back. If you're not subscribed, please get subscribed. If you're not hitting the like, please hit the like if you liked it. I mean, I'm not asking you to like it if you hated it. It's just, if you like it, click like. If you didn't like it, click don't like twice. Just double it. No, just kidding. Turns it off. It's a joke. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up. All I can tell you is I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey and for being a part of the shows. Just remember the podcast will be coming out late tomorrow night. Actually Monday morning. I actually release it past midnight Pacific time, so it goes live on Monday. So watch for the new podcast episode. And it's a great interview. I got another really fantastic interview coming up for the next week that I'm really excited to release as well. But I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. That one's a pretty special one. I mean, they're all special to me, don't get me wrong. But remember, if any of you guys have experiences of your own and you want to be a guest on the podcast, please go to paranormalportal.net. It's just paranormalportal.net. And I'm going to put it in the chat here. Paranormalportal.net. And click the button, Interview Me. If you've got experiences you'd like to share and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, click Interview Me. It'll launch my calendar app, which you can then look at the days and times available and see if something works for you. And we'll meet and record it. It's pre-recorded, so if you're nervous, don't worry. We can always edit it and stop and start as we need to. But the paranormalportal.net is God, if I can just type and talk at the same time, is the Paranormal Portal homepage. So look for the Interview Me button, but also check out the page because it's has links to all of the social medias and stuff everywhere that we are. And I'd love to have you follow us wherever we are. That would be wonderful. So that's all I got for you. I can't think of anything else. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But again, happy birthday, Kirsten. I hope it was an amazing day. Thank you for being here and sticking with us. Glad you guys wrapped up all that birthday stuff so you're ready for the show. But anyway, that's all we got. And I guess that's it until Wednesday for the live streams. But watch for the podcasts Monday and the video podcast. I don't know if I can release the next one because I had an issue with recording the video. There was a real problem. I missed a good first section of the interview. So I don't know if I can save it with audio from the recorded podcast and then create visuals. I'll do my best, but it's going to be a pretty big project to try to save that and release a video podcast of it. But in any regard, that'll be coming out on Monday, and the video sometime after that, if it's going to come out at all, I'll try. But anyway, that's all I got. So love to you, Jessica. Thank you. Hello to Anubis and Pikachu. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So that's going to wrap it up. That's all I got. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday night. Again, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for the live show. So until then, be good and take care of yourselves. Have a good start of the week. Remember, I know nobody looks forward to Monday, but just remember, we manifest reality. We create our experience. So just know that Monday is going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you can join me on the portal and let me know how that went. So, all right, guys, love you. Have a good night. Until next time, we'll see you. Weird Traveler, it was nice meeting you. And any other new names that we talked about, thank you all for coming in and giving the show a shot. I appreciate that most of all. And hopefully you liked it and you become part of the family. So until next time, guys, that's it. I'm gonna go. I'm all out of words. That's it. I'm empty. Good night.